I've just purchased today this HV170, and it is basically a handheld vacuum cleaner. I purchased this from a company in New Zealand called Briscoes. The list price, as you can see, is $119.99. Now, this was on special offer. Now, I don't know how long this special offer is going to last, whether it's going to be a permanent price reduction or what, but I paid about $59 for this. And the question is it worth it? I bought this actually to replace a 2-year-old Black & Decker, which, like most of these machines, there's two things that go wrong with them. The battery fails, which is usually the main issue, or the motor fails. Because when you think about it, all this device is an electric motor with a fan on it, and a battery, and a power pack to charge the battery. It's as simple as that. So whether you pay $40 for one, or in the case of Dyson, which is just crazy, we won't go into that, but that's another issue, several $100s, it's still basically the same thing surrounded by bits of plastic. Now, I have to say, this does look quite pretty. It's got a blue LED that lights up here when it's on charge, and for some reason we also have a red LED on the top here, which also shows you it's charging. In fact, they are both connected in parallel and do exactly the same thing. Now, this one has an 8.4 volt battery system, and generally the rule is the higher the battery voltage, the more powerful it is. Now, this is clearly somewhat more than that, but it doesn't tell you the whole story, because it's the amount of power the motor takes will decide how powerful it is. But generally the rule seems to be the higher the battery voltage, the more powerful the machine is. Now, I don't propose to go into great technical details about this, because this video is basically for the average person that wants to know, will it suck up bits of rubbish, and is it any good at doing that? So that's all we need to say about the battery, except there is two things worth considering. Most of these lower price units tend to use a nickel cadmium battery, and the more expensive ones these days use the lithium cells. Now, again, there's two things to consider on this. The lithium cells will be more expensive, because the cells are more expensive, and also because to look after them you need a fairly elaborate circuit, because they don't like under voltage and they don't like over voltage. If you drain them too much, they can be damaged, and equally if you overcharge them, they can explode and catch fire, which makes a great video, but not very good when you're vacuuming the car. It seems to be that the lithium cell types would tend to be a better choice, but you pay about $20 premium to get virtually the same thing with that, and it's always debatable, is it worth it? And time will tell. I've never tried a lithium one yet. Now, this is the power pack that comes with it, and it's a surprisingly high voltage of 15 volts, but at only 150 milliamps. Now, with all these type of devices, they're designed to be plugged in continuously, because it will be trickle charging all the time, rather than some devices like an electric shaver, which would charge in probably 30 minutes, but will use a fair current of probably an amp or so. As the power pack's rated at 150 milliamps, it's probably drawing about 100 milliamps at the most, and in use it remains cold. Now, the stand's been designed to be either screwed to the wall or the bench or something like that. At the moment it's just freestanding here, and to get the unit off you have to hold the base and sort of pull, and off it comes. Now, it comes with two accessories, which are just basically different shaped nozzles. That's a sort of rubbery thing. I've tried them both and they both seem to work. This is a solid extension for getting into nooks and crannies and things like that. Now, this is where the power goes in. This is one of the negative things about it. It uses a standard 3.5mm. Now why they've chosen this, I can't imagine, because it's the sort of plug you find on headphones, microphones, that sort of thing, and isn't really designed to handle any current. But saying that, the current is relatively small. I think this would probably long term be a weak link, because that is not very good for power. Plus it looks ridiculous. Why does it look like that? I can't imagine. Anyway, this, I should point out actually that this is the second unit I had. The first one I had to take back because the wire here wasn't making contact with the plug, and you had to bend it around and for it to make contact. So not a very good start, and I think that will long term be a problem. There should be a proper power socket on there, like you find on most sensible pieces of equipment. Now, as I don't have 50 other vacuum cleaners to compare it against, as a standalone unit, I have to say it does the job well. It does pick up stuff, and it's got quite a good suction on it. Now that's all the positive side of it, but the negative sides are it's quite heavy. In use, I find the handle too short, and because of that, when you lift it up, it actually wants to tip forward because it's very long, and it's also quite heavy towards the front. And this is the on-off switch, and the most ridiculous thing about it is it doesn't stay on. If I give it, mind your ears if you're on headphones, this is how you turn it on. And of course when you let it go, it switches off. Now that's fine if you're just doing a little bit of dust on the floor, but let's say you're cleaning the car out. You actually want to be able to switch this on and then go around all the various places. But it's virtually impossible with this because the switch is really narrow, and you can see with my thumb on there, it's really, I won't switch it on again because I know it'll blow your heads off, but it's really, this is my main area of complaint. The handle is too small. This doesn't have a big enough ridge on it, so when you're holding it, there's quite a lot of pressure required to press the switch, and you have to hold it in that position all the time you're using it. And if, like me, you change it from one hand to the other to get round different places, I'm particularly talking about the car, this is a pain in the backside. If you're looking for a little cheap cleaner that's just for clearing up odd bits of dust around the kitchen or the workshop or whatever, it's fine, and for just under $60, good value for money. But if Briscoes put the price up to 100 and whatever it was, I wouldn't bother, because there are better units for the same money, and for about $120 you can get a lithium battery one. Now make up your own mind.